A 70-year-old man loses the one object that still connects him to his late wife. What his family doesn't know is what he does next, and why. Mr. Nagy had lived a life of quiet dignity. Decades as a post office clerk, honest and punctual, never one to cut corners. He never earned much, but he saved every rupee he could to build a small home for his wife and the life they would grow old in together. Destiny had other plans. When his wife was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, the savings disappeared almost overnight. The house was sold to pay for her treatment, and then she was gone too. With no home and no income left, he moved in with his son, Jay, in a quiet town on the outskirts of Dehradun, in the foothills of the Himalayas. Jay lived there with his wife, Uma, and their two children, Neil and Vanya, 11 and 10. Jay earned just enough to keep the household steady. No eating out, no holidays. Uma never once complained. Mr. Nagy tried hard never to be a burden. He lived by routine, perhaps because routine was the only thing left that gave him control. Wake at 6, walk till 7:30, breakfast at 8, then hours with the newspaper, the only company that stayed as steady as his wife once had. One morning, that routine broke. His spectacles were missing, not just any spectacles, the last gift his wife had ever given him. He checked every pocket, every surface, every corner. The panic rising in his chest wasn't about glasses. It was about losing the last piece of her. Jay saw it on his father's face before leaving for work. He asked Uma to help search. The house turned into chaos, drawers pulled open, cushions overturned. Uma searched every room twice. Mr. Nagy searched the garden and the balcony. Hours passed. The children came home hungry, and Uma hadn't even started lunch. But she couldn't stop. She knew those spectacles weren't really about sight. They were the last thing his wife had touched daily that he still carried with him. Just as Uma was about to suggest they pause, Mr. Nagy said something nobody expected. "Let's go out for lunch." The children lit up instantly. Even Uma was caught off guard. At the restaurant, he ordered Chinese for the children, Italian for Uma, and a simple Indian thali for himself. Something about him had shifted. The anxiety was gone. He laughed with the children. He looked, for the first time all day, completely at peace, as if the missing spectacles had never happened at all. Back home, the children left for tuition. Uma, exhausted, wanted a short nap. But she knew her rest depended on those spectacles being found, because surely the search would resume any minute. So she planned a small lie. She would tell him the spectacles had probably gone with Jay, tucked into his laptop bag by mistake. They'd check once he was home. She walked into the living room to deliver her gentle excuse and stopped completely still. There sat Mr. Nagy, calm, comfortable, quietly reading his newspaper, wearing his spectacles. Uma stared, stunned. "Where did you find them?" He looked up, smiling, almost mischievously. "In the washroom. Must have taken them off while washing my face." Uma blinked. She had checked the bathroom twice. Before she could say a word, he added theatrically, I know. We searched the whole day and they were right there, hiding in plain sight." Something in his voice, something quiet, almost shy, made Uma pause. And in that pause, she understood. He hadn't lost his spectacles at all. He had hidden them himself, not for attention, not out of confusion. He had simply wanted to give his family something they hadn't allowed themselves in a long time, a meal out, without the quiet, constant weight of money on their minds. He never said it. He never would. But Uma understood completely. She smiled and let the moment be exactly what it was. Years later, a young man stood in front of a room full of people, closing the final page of a novel. "Mr. Nagy was my grandfather," Neil said, his voice catching slightly. "This was one of the quiet ways he loved us. He didn't say much, he didn't hug often, but he cared, in 100 small ways we were too young to notice back then. I see them so clearly now." He never really gave us gifts. He gave us memories instead. Small ones, soft ones, ones we still carry, even today. If this story stayed with you, like, share, and subscribe. A new story arrives every Sunday. I'll see you then.